All right, welcome back to Behind the Breaks. We are very excited. We've got Ziggy from Ziggy No. He's up on YouTube, and check out the show notes. This guy's all over the place, but man, big thinking, big ideas for the hobby, and he's kind of a disruptor, RJ.
Yeah, left field, right field, center field. It doesn't matter where. His ideas are like coming from everywhere, and that was really cool to be part of. And at the end of the day, anyone that makes you think and think different about something that you love, especially a hobby like breaking cards, is good in my book. So let's get into it.
All right, we are back, and we've got Ziggy from Ziggy No on YouTube. He's on every other platform. This man is an advocate. He's a big thinker, an advocate for breakers. He's doing a lot of incredible stuff in the hobby, and he's been very important to us. He's been watching our show, giving us some great feedback. So we've got him on because we got a lot to talk about. Welcome in, Ziggy.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for having me, man. I'm super excited to be here. Big fan. As you said, I've been watching your show only for probably about a month or two. But I did go back and start consuming a bunch of your old stuff, and I just love the approach. I love the way you guys are very positive, and you really show stuff that I don't think people understand. Like today, I was listening to your conversation with the guy from Black Gold, and just getting his insights on payment, how he pays his breakers, I thought was very interesting, right? And I encourage everybody to watch stuff like that. If you're another breaker, if any breaker base out there a breaker, you should be watching your channel, because you're just giving away so many damn nuggets of information. And then I think if you're not a breaker and just interested in the hobby, you should be watching, because you get a great insight in this. And one thing I've been a big advocate is that behind every breaker, there's really a great story of a business, a care, a passion. Like I've never met a breaker yet who's like, I am a scammer. Here's my whole scam. I'm going to scam people. Here's, you know what I'm saying? Now you see clips of that. You saw the whatnot clip of the guy talking about resetting the channel or whatever. And there's bad shit out there.
Yeah.
In my defense of that, and I'll keep reminding people in the hobby, we are the only ones that have the camera on when we're talking about the hobby. I'm talking about breaking. And that's why you have that negative stuff. If you had cameras on every local card store, I don't want to talk about it. I'll just say that. Just remember, we have the cameras on. We're accountable for that.
100%. And I agree with you. Everybody we've talked to, everybody's on the show, same thing. They want to make sure they're doing things right by the people that are taking the time, spending the money with them. So appreciate you pointing that out. Also, it's important to say we did not pay him to say all those nice things about us. But, we got the chance to meet you at the National, have a conversation with you. And man, you've got some big ideas, some massive, massive thinking on the hobby and what we can do to continue to move it forward in a positive way. But before we get to that, man, obviously we've got to start with where you started. Where did your collecting journey begin? Was it sports, other? Just dive right into it, man.
So I'll give you kind of the short life story. As a kid, 2000, I'm kidding. It was 1986. 1986, I was dropped off at Boys and Girls Club. My mom had just moved to Florida, single mother. And my brother and I collected baseball cards. And for one summer, that was very passionate to us. 86 was our summer. We had the 86 topped. We also played with the 87s when it came out, but that was a very important year. I bring that up because my brother and I did collect for probably 2 or 3 years off and on, and we collected other cards, but that one summer was it. And it set it for the rest of our lives. After that, we had a collection, my brother and I, that we valued at about $10,000. And in college, we'd sell it back and forth to each other based on who needed cash. Hey, man, I need some cash. I'll play you the cards, right? I ended up getting stuck with the cards at the end. In fact, I'll give you another story. The cards made it through a fire at my parents' house. Jeez, they were in the attic. Part of the house burned down. The cards survived, right? But these things kept getting passed around, and I ended up cashing out the card during COVID when I opened up this chest of cards and started going through these sets and trying to sell them online because everybody was buying everything. In fact, one thing I did was I took all my sets, sent everything in and graded something. I've got all 9s and 10s here. Everything came back 7s and lower. And that really, it was a smack in the face when I realized grading is magic performed by wizards. And you cannot understand that. And anybody wants to argue with you about how, well, you can recrack this and this guy's this and this is off center. Guys, it's magic performed by wizards. And that's it.
I don't disagree with you. I do not disagree with you at all, man. The grading, we're actually going to get into something that you wrote, the post you wrote about the PSA. We'll get into that in a minute, but I got to ask you, you were talking about the Mattingly, right? Back in the day that you scored. Did you got rid of that too during COVID?
It's funny. So, I again, back in the day, 1986, I pulled them Mattingly out of a pack. You're paying like $4 or $5 for this pack of 84s. And, I remember it being worth money and the guy not giving me the value of the card. So I just remember keeping it. Yes, I kept it. Yes, I got it graded. It ended up being a 5. And again, I kept that my whole life. Now, I bought a card that came out a 7, which I thought was interesting. One that I bought on eBay graded a 7, and the one I had my whole life was a 5. I kept the 5. I don't know where the 5 is, though, right now. I think it's in storage. I remember deliberately holding that one. But that's like one of the only cards that was important to me. But I had tons of the, Barry Bonds and stuff like that. In fact, another quick story.
Yeah.
Again, 86, I'm living in Bradenton, Florida. That's where the Pirates did their spring league, whatever, training, talking about.
Yeah, spring training.
Yep.
Training. I have pictures of me as a kid that I was there, shaking hands with Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla. We met them as Pirates. I remember getting autographs of them, not on cards again, because that was no. You didn't do that. But again, that was, meeting those guys when I was a little kid. So
yeah,
I was a fan of them.
It's awesome.
Bobby Bonilla, the contract.
And then I guess fast forward, I got back in the cards because of my kids. 2015, my kids started trading cards, and I was blown away when one of them showed me Excalibur. No, is it Excalibur? Is that the card? I think it's Excalibur, Panini's product. It was a retail product that had patches and autographs in it.
Okay.
And it just blew my mind that they even had that. And then also the whole numbering of cards. Like I remember going, why are these cards numbered?
Oh,
so
man, they yanked you right back in.
It did. And then fast forward, I'll add to that too real quickly. Again, divorced father. So for me, and I will be critical as people always say, well, what about you get your kids into breaks? You're an awful human being. Well, again, my kids and I used to buy breaks. And what that meant was I would buy the Thunder and the Warriors because my boys like those two teams. And then we'd either be in the chat talking back and forth about it, or afterwards we'd talk about the cards, right? It had nothing to do with value. It just had the fact my sons like to collect them. I love to help them get them. In fact, I have one video. Again, I was very active in the breaking community back in 2016, 17. Steel City did a video. They did a personal break for my son, Leo. I'm like, can you pull a box of innovation for him? He loves Stephen Curry. And they pull him a Stephen Curry autograph patch.
That's awesome.
That we have sold since then. But at the time, it was like $100 card, $200 card, whatever it was. It was a very big card. It was his birthday. Kid was excited. So we were very active in using sports cards as a gift, as a reward system. Hey, you could watch this. Looking back at that now, I think times have changed a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good or bad for kids to be watching breaks. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on the fence on that.
Yeah.
Even the point, like my kids fast forward now are very active in wanting to gamble, right? Or have access to gambling, right? My 20-year-old son, I'm not going to lie. I know he gambles.
Right.
They're just more aware of that. So was breaking their first cigarette? I don't know.
That's a great question. That's
and I don't want to be a downer
part of the conversation.
Yeah, no. Well, that goes back even like to PAX itself, right? I remember as a kid, in the '90s opening PAX, and it's like you always looked at the, it's a 1 in 60 you can hit this, and so like you knew like the consequence then, right? And it wasn't as lights flashy as it is today, right? But at the same time, there was still that like itch of going, man, like I could pull that Michael Jordan out of that set, and it's going to be, look on the back of Beckett, and you're like, it's worth $200. But once again, like you said, is someone really going to give you $200 for that card? Probably not.
Here's the difference, in my opinion. And I was talking to a friend about that. We were raised with this belief in not having instant gratification for things. Right? Our families, our generation. So yes, we collect it in our minds. What we thought to ourselves, okay, this card's worth $20. I'm not going to sell it now, but I can get $20 in the future. Right? I think in our minds, we thought at a minimum, because it's worth 20 today, it's only going to go up more in the future. And I'll take the 20 it's worth today. And I think that's what created this false sense of value that when we move to the future now, in fact, what's going on today in the modern hobby is this. It's instant gratification. Cards instantly can give you money, and they can give it to you over and over and over. The velocity of a transaction is 10 times. In the 90s, you might sell a card once or twice. So when people criticize there's no collectors anymore, I don't know if there's people collecting or not, but I can tell you this, a hot rookie card will go 10 times in its life from owners and make people money 10 different times, including transactions every time it does that.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad? I don't know. So when you look at the past, we would have probably, if we could have cashed out, we would have cashed out too. You know what I mean? Like we just couldn't.
Yeah.
But to your point, of course, yes. Let's say the card hot rookie goes 8 times, but then it lands with me, and I'm a whatever team fan, and I'm collecting that. That's going on my shelf, so it'll eventually get to that person who stops that flow, right?
Yeah.
That card will then sit on that person's shelf mantle until the person lets them down and blows the ACL, and then they realize they overspent, and now they're angry.
Even in the sense of like, if I'm as a buyer of transactions and I get cards that I do not like, what am I going to do with them? I'm going to give them to friends of mine who do like them. Yeah. Oh, you're an Arizona fan, dude? I got a whole bunch of these Arizona cards. I didn't want them. I didn't turn out. So you're absolutely right, and that is why this will always have a collector community. And the collector, I would say, if you're patient, most collectors are patient. They smile and laugh at the breakers and the frenzies and the FOMO because they know they can wait. I think there's a lot of BS in there going, oh, the collectors, they're being priced out. And collectors, no, they're not. Buyers, gamblers are being priced out, not collectors. Collectors are still collecting. And those people who open boxes are gamblers. They're just as much of a gambler as a guy buying under breaks. They just rationalize it differently.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Breaks. We appreciate you being here with us and helping us grow this community. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.
Make sure to like, follow, or subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one.